Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Jason. I hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic. Welcome back to my channel if you're a regular on my channel, and welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. But today, we're gonna be talking about this bad boy here. This is the Easy Rig by DigitalFoto, but we're actually going to be comparing it to the Thanos Pro X or the Thanos Pro II. Which one you might actually get, because this is a very common question that I actually get asked in my Thanos Pro II and Thanos Pro X video. And this is actually a question that I actually asked myself. Which one is better? Because I do a whole bunch of commercial work and I've been leaning towards one or the other when it comes to commercial work, and there are pros and cons to each. And I want to go through this video and discuss those pros and cons. So hopefully that will help you guys in determining what you actually need these for and which one you may actually get. Like, they are pretty expensive, but trust me, they make a big difference on set, and I am super thankful for DigitalFoto for sending these ones over in the past. But I'm by all means not affiliated or sponsored by DigitalFoto. They didn't ask me to make these videos and say a particular thing. So this is of my own opinion. And I've actually said some, you know, not so great things about the DigitalFoto Thanos Pro II, I think it was, with the build quality. They have actually rectified some of these issues. They sent me some parts to upgrade it and make it much stronger, which, you know, is great. A company never ever does that, but DigitalFoto actually took it on the chest and was like, I'm sorry. Oh, God. My bad. We messed up. We'll fix it. We'll send you these to make it better. And by all means, it made it better. Thank you for actually taking the hit on that and making the product better for us consumers. That is what every single company should do, and congrats to DigitalFoto for doing that. But first of all, let's talk about, we're gonna break these down into sections just so it makes it a little bit easier with comparison. But first of all, let's talk about stability. So in terms of stability, both of these work, same thing, it's apples and oranges here. I'd have to say they're pretty much the same, but it comes down to another thing, and that is my next section, is movement. DigitalFoto, the Thanos Pro X and the Thanos Pro II, the movement is so much better, because there was one shot that I actually did in one of my commercials, and that was a tracking low shot. Because of the Thanos Pro X, you've got this like a shaft that you can flick right up and down. I went down nice and low to the ground, blades of grass in the foreground, and I tracked across the blades of grass. You could only achieve this with a dolly, a really low dolly shot, but Thanos Pro X did it on the fly, tracked across the blades of grass, foreground, actors were in mid-ground, obviously had the background, and it just looked absolutely phenomenal. You can actually move in and out with the Thanos Pro X because you can go over the top of the tables. With this one, you're stuck with the ring. You can only go so far of how long your arms are. Thanos Pro X, with that, it's phenomenal. So hands down, Thanos Pro X wins that one over the Easy Rig. Now, that brings me also to my next one, is form factor. The Thanos Pro X obviously is bigger. It's got more moving parts. It's just a bigger rig. It fits, it's like a full metal cage around you. You guys have seen this on my channel. It's a full metal cage, big chest rig, big dampening arm, big shaft, everything. It's massive. But it does take a massive payload. I think it's 20-pound payload, which is a lot of weight. This one is same thing. It can take up to 8 to 18 kilos. We're talking, what is it? 20 pounds to almost 40 pounds of payload. That's crazy, crazy, crazy heavy, which is really good. It's versatile, but the Easy Rig is a smaller form factor. It's so much smaller. This one actually is with the dampening arm on top as well. So that just, you know, limits a lot of that downward bouncing movements through this arm here. Spring loaded at the top, fabulous, fabulous design. But in terms of form factor, the EasyRig wins on this one. The one small downside is that you do need the ring with this one. So DigitalFoto do sell that one, I think, for $530. I had one from SmallRig anyway, but you do have to attach it to this to make it very similar movement in terms of using a gimbal. Okay, so practicality on set. Now this one's a difficult one because the Thanos Pro II and the Thanos Pro X, it does take a lot longer to set up, whereas this one here, there is no setup. You put the gimbal on the ring, you attach the ring through this thing right here, you chuck it on your back, and it's done. It's so simple to set up. Whereas the Thanos Pro X, you need to understand how to balance the gimbal on top of the main shaft, and then you need to figure out, I suppose, the peak amount of resistance on the stability arm, the dampening arm. There's so many more moving parts, and it does become a little bit more difficult and slower to set up. I do actually have a full, I think it's like a 20 to 25 minute tutorial on how to balance the Thanos Pro X, but it does take a lot longer, and especially if you do change lenses and stuff, it does change obviously how the gimbal reacts and how everything is, the balance is out. It does take longer, but the rewards of it is just phenomenal. You get such incredible looking footage from using that. Well, if you are a good cinematographer, but yeah, it is so much better, in my opinion, when it comes to footage, but it does come with those cons. And practicality, this packs up so much smaller, it's so much quicker to set up, so it really depends on how much time you've got. But if you've got enough time, I do suggest Thanos Pro X. But if you are a bit, slack on time and really need like run and gun stuff, EasyRig is your way to go. Okay, so price is probably the biggest determining factor of these two. Now, the Thanos Pro X, I believe, is about $2,500 US. That's pretty expensive, but it is warranted. I did have the ARRI Amira on there. I did have the ARRI Alexa on there as well as a Steadicam rig, which we'll go into Versatility in a second. But in terms of price, $2,500 for the full rig. Then you obviously need to add your own camera and gimbal. This one is $884 by itself, but then you've got the dampening arm at the top is $530. This is $880. Then you need the ring, which is $200. So it ends up being about what, $1,600? Obviously, your own gimbal and camera, we won't include that. But for this, $1,600 as opposed to $2,500 of the Thanos Pro X. Now the Thanos Pro II is a smaller, lighter setup, and it doesn't take as much big payload as the Thanos Pro X, and I believe that is pretty much $1,350 or $1,400. So it is very similar price to this. So in terms of price, they are about the same. So it really depends on which one you will actually choose, but pricing shouldn't be an issue, because if you are willing to spend, $15-ish, $100 and get either or, then it really depends on why you need it and does it suit your workflow. Versatility. Now this is the biggest one. So the Thanos Pro X and the Thanos Pro II actually can be rigged down so you can use it just as a Steadicam. Now this is massive when you do actually have cinema cameras, which is what I found on the ARRI, because obviously you can't chuck the ARRI on the full Trinity with the my gimbal, because I don't have a heavy enough gimbal setup. But I used it as a Steadicam and it was phenomenal. Got such smooth looking shots when tracking backwards. Wasn't like shaky handheld. It was, smooth, shaky, natural looking footage, which is great. Whereas when you do have just the EasyRig by itself and the dampening arm, it doesn't do anything with stability. Essentially, it just makes it easier to hold. So in terms of versatility, They are very similar because you can just mount the camera on this, or you can have the ring and the gimbal setup, but the full RE Trinity sort of style setup with the gimbal or the Steadicam on the Thanos Pro II or Thanos Pro X does make it a little bit more versatile when it comes to that full setup. So my overall thoughts, this is a difficult one because in terms of my commercial work, I've been reaching for both, but one of the main reasons why I've been reaching for one or the other comes down to time. I do prefer the look from the Thanos Pro X and the Thanos Pro II, but in terms of the setup time, sometimes I get a little bit caught because I'm so pumped with a whole bunch of work. I don't really have too much time to, set aside and balance and do my full setup. I've been reaching for the Easy Rig. This one is so much more quicker because I literally just whip it out of the bag and chuck my camera directly on here. I haven't really been using the ring setup as much. I did use it in one and brilliant, same again. The ring setup is a little bit more easier to manage. And even if I don't want the ring and I can just demount the camera off my gimbal and put it directly on here, versatility, it's just really hard to beat this one for setup time and run and gun work. But it really depends on your shooting style as well. Like, this isn't as stable as the Thanos Pro II and Thanos Pro X, but if you do have IBIS or if you do have OSS in the lens, this one's perfectly fine. If you don't have IBIS in the lens, then I probably would be reaching towards the Thanos Pro X and the Thanos Pro II. I mean, unless you do have the ring and gimbal setup and throw it on here, that would still work as well. So yeah, it's a very difficult one. It's literally comparing apples and oranges, which one you prefer. But hopefully that will help you guys in deciding which one is better. Like I said, I have been reaching towards this one, so it is a bit of a sign that I do prefer this one in terms of just the overall usability, the experience, build quality. They're both the same. They're both built very, very, very well, especially this dampening arm. I absolutely love this dampening arm. That's a really good addition to the Easy Rig. I do prefer that over just your regular Easy Rig, system without the dampening arm. But yeah, I will be doing a dedicated review on this one as well. I'm well overdue, like I said in my last video. I've just been absolutely pumped with work recently because my production company is doing so well, which is great. But I've been very busy. So it is really good to see you guys. And yeah, if you've been sticking around to the end of this video, thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you have any questions, comment below. I'd really, really like to help you guys out in deciding which one is best for you. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one. All right, let's get it.